Welcome to the celebrated nightly news of Calaveras County.
There was no count back.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, so John just said, welcome, here we are. In a lovely
we're actually
parking lot
doing
in Angels Camp.
We're testing our remote skills more and more.
Yes,
so
we
we are
are
actually in the Starbucks parking lot of Angels Camp,
yes,
right?
Starbucks,
or
first
technically
American
the
title.
first American title.
Technically the first American title.
Yes, that's
yes,
right.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
Now, I guess to start off the news is this: they haven't called fire season over, and there's still some small fires that we're seeing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But burn permits were available again today.
That's right.
And we think it's kind of a nice little kind of a time to just say thanks.
Yes, exactly.
Because guys did a, the personnel guys and gals did a
great job this season.
And if we look back on it, if you follow this closely, like we have to, starting with the Murray fire, and that's the one that burned right behind the county government,
that's
about 2 miles back up in there. And that one was early, and you could tell everybody was just like,
oh no,
what is this year going to
bring? Exactly.
And they've done a great job. I mean, jumping on these things. If you think back, they had not only the Murray fire, but the one that was
Highway
in
4.
the middle of Angels Camp.
Oh well, that's
the
right.
Greenhorn Creek, behind Greenhorn
Mm-hmm.
Creek. That one, I think that one had some people genuinely nervous
concerned,
because
exactly. So close
it's
to
kind
housing.
of in the middle of a neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little smidgen.
But they really jumped on it, and we want to just take an opportunity to say thanks, and also on the the wonderful job they did on the Avery fire that closed Highway 4 for a while, and also across in the Tuolumne County side, the pot fire that was they battled that one really hard. I know it was remote, it was caused by a marijuana grow, but a couple firefighters had minor injuries on that one.
Absolutely.
And I think it a little opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for the awesome job. It's and as we said earlier, burn permits are available today. Right, and they are no cost.
So
they are free, but you do need those.
You need to get those.
And
if you're doing any burning,
please be careful out there because it's not over yet.
It's still a little dry.
A little dry, but it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Board of Supervisors tomorrow. I know Sarah looked over the agenda a little bit there.
I looked over the agenda a little bit, and it's actually sort of a light well, it depends on what perspective you're looking at it from, but it is sort of a light meeting. They're going to talk about actually retaining the Ferguson Group for lobbying efforts out in Washington, D.C., and really one of the
and since we're on the Starbucks broadcasting network, it's
he'll
probably okay
be
if I
drinking Starbucks.
here we go.
We just don't want to hear you gulp, okay? One thing that actually hopped out was a community development agency item, which is a public hearing and possible board action regarding Saddleback Hills, which is actually in San Andreas. And it's a request for a zoning amendment and tentative subdivision track map for
a track map.
We're
getting ready for map, huh?
Yeah, 62.1 acres in that will develop 133 single-family homes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah. Now, this one was held up a little bit, wasn't it, on getting the road
in, the ingress and egress.
Ingress and egress,
the ingress and egress. It was my
all
understanding.
Dialed in. Isn't that the
that's
issue
my
on that?
understanding.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
But we'll find out a little more tomorrow, actually. So we'll know a little bit more about that. And also, they are going to introduce an ordinance about the zoning code amending zoning, building, and septic permits. So, and proposed revisions to that code. So we'll have a little more about that for you tomorrow.
Great.
But those are the two things that really jump out.
What's any exciting stuff on the closed session? What are they going to be talking about?
Litigation as usual.
No way.
None of us
No.
know.
Anticipated?
Yeah, anticipated litigation.
Anticipated
litigation. There's only one this
Only
time.
one.
Usually there's a little more.
Is it significant or moderate exposure?
Significant.
Oh,
significant exposure.
Oh,
See,
man.
Significant exposure.
See, on
one
these,
case,
we're
only one.
We're making light of this a little bit, but usually if you try to read the tea leaves on these, it is...
It's interesting.
Yeah, you try to look
like
at
who's
the
suing and what are they suing for exactly?
Yes,
and they can't really talk about it too much until later. Exactly.
Coming up tomorrow night, and this is a little bit on county government stuff. Is let me go back here. Kind of stepping off camera for a second. The COG is having a meeting tomorrow night. Now this one is the.
It's in Arnold.
Yeah, and this is another one on the Arnold Rural Livable plan.
Exactly.
And this is the executive committee. They are open to the public, but this is for the committee members. And we've had some slides up, and we'll post those again later. But this is really a great thing that can actually have a nice revitalization to Arnold in some very, I think, can have some big impact, even if they do something in some very mild ways.
Exactly. Exactly.
Road beautification and stuff like that.
Transportation and preparation for
right.
community meeting.
And this one is actually, it's going to be at
quarter.
6:30 p.m. in the Arnold Fire Station in the spiffy new meeting room.
That's right.
Spiffy.
Very nice.
Yes, the spiffy new meeting room. Review and evaluation of proposed alternatives based on feedback from last meeting on transportation survey results.
Yes.
Preparation for the next community meeting.
Yes.
Continued discussion of the Highway 4 corridor.
That's right.
That's right.
And pray tell, is there anything else, John?
Oh, let's see here.
Before you close that page.
Before I close this page,
Yes.
and if you have any questions, please feel free to call.
That's right.
So,
COG.
call the COG.
That's
or
right.
chime in, because this is something on having to actually develop the new corridor plan.
New corridor plan for Arnold.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Little beautification, little
That's right.
spiffiness.
Spiffiness. Places where people can park their cars. You know.
That's always a good thing.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's tomorrow night at 6:30. Arnold Fire Station in their spiffy new meeting room.
All right, and for one additional thing here is they are going to, if you're going to start seeing smoke
That's
in
right.
the moderately
They're doing
mid-country, there is going to be a prescribed burn.
Yes.
In the Stanislaus National Forest. The Calaveras Ranger District is planning to conduct a 300-acre prescribed burn located approximately 2 miles northwest of Arnold, along Forest Road 5N23.
All right.
All right. Depending on weather and fuel, it could continue for several days.
Yes.
Benefits of this prescribed burn project include promoting forest health, reducing flammable vegetation, and protecting the public and firefighters, as well as providing an added measure of protection for the community of Hathaway Pines, Avery, Arnold, White Pines, Blue Lake Springs, Big Trees Village, Dorrington, Camp Connell. In essence, a buffer zone.
A buffer zone.
A buffer zone,
Exactly.
yes. So,
exactly. And they do these every year.
yes, they do these.
So this
They
is
do these every
nothing
year.
too unusual, but
And these always, one of these things is they make some people happy and some people
not so happy.
not so happy.
Not so happy.
That's kind of like
Exactly.
lots of things in life.
Yeah. Well.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Now weekend accidents.
Relationships,
Yeah, stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Stuff. There was only one weekend accident of note, and this was not so happy. Actually, on Highway 108. It was a huge rollover accident.
This one has lots of layers. It's kind of
One of
like an
those
onion.
onion
Yeah, this
things,
is an
yes.
onion story.
Pray tell. Peel back the
and
layers, John.
This is one to where we actually happened upon the scene as they were dragging the big rig. There was a big rig that was just mangled.
Yes.
And if you look at pictures we have on the front of the site, this big rig, it didn't look like anybody could have survived it.
Yeah, but they did.
But they did.
They did.
Yeah, because we were dragging out and we talked to the officer on scene and we were like, did they survive?
Yeah,
and
what
and he
happened?
said basically, thanks to alcohol. Because he must have been relaxed
Every once in a
enough
while that
or
happens.
something
they
like
just get
that.
tossed around the cab. Yeah.
There was no cab.
Well, at
There
one
was-
point there was. Yeah, at one point there was.
And this thing was just mangled. And I guess what happened is because the driver was the DUI, and they have released the gentleman's name, is he actually, I guess, went to a house that was nearby and said that he had been involved in an altercation. There was facial lacerations. They took him to the hospital, and where they must have started putting two and two together, so
figured
they
it
got a
out.
blood test soon enough that all the stuff wasn't completely out of his system yet or whatever.
So, yeah.
So he didn't even really admit that he. I mean, this is a semi-tractor that was absolutely, completely destroyed. I mean, there was. I guess it went off the edge of Highway 108 and rolled, and then also the cab struck an oak tree.
Yeah.
So it was pretty
Not
mangled.
so good. But that was the major accident for the weekend.
Pretty much. There were some
pretty
smaller
much.
ones.
There
There
were
was.
little ones, but
There was another one that was not funny, I know, because there was a 61-year-old Calaveras County resident that rolled her Jeep, and it rolled it all the way over and landed back on its wheels again, and she drove home. We haven't put the report up yet, but she drove home and then thought later, maybe I better report this. So she ended up going to the hospital 5 or 6 hours, no, even maybe 9 hours later.
Really? That far later, huh?
That much later. But, probably minor injuries there.
Yeah.
But see, I guess, is that an ad for Jeep?
Possibly.
Because if you can
look
roll
at if you can roll,
and then drive it home.
but you have to have the road space to roll.
That's true.
That's true.
She was rolled
And she
drove it home.
Drove it home. Okay.
So, I mean, visually it probably
Was interesting.
Yeah, probably not quite in great shape.
Something
but,
to look at.
Yeah.
Exactly.
On
And weekend news.
a little bit of weekend news.
Yeah.
I guess we'll touch back a little bit. The health fair
Yes. And there were quite
was
a few
in
people.
San Andreas, was well attended.
That was at
So
Mark
people
Twain
started to
St.
get
Joseph's
those
Hospital.
flu shots.
That's right. Did you get your flu shot?
No.
Of course not.
No.
No.
No, we actually snuck out of town. We kind of waited until the end of fire season
And
because
then
you can't leave during fire season because
'cause you never
something
know
may
what's gonna
happen.
happen.
Yeah. But we did catch some interesting sea lion mating sounds that we'll play. We may play at a later date.
Yes.
I mean, it was.
Quite interesting. I'm not quite sure how that ties into the health and fitness fair.
It doesn't, but it was weekend activities.
Yes, they had quite a turnout, and which is a good thing.
Hey, did you see that?
Honestly. Oh, it's inside view with State Senator Dave Cox.
No,
yes,
I was looking at the website, and we had posted an interview that Sarah did with State Senator
Dave Cox.
Yeah,
yes.
it works better if you say.
If you say it correctly.
Yeah,
yes.
if you say it in
it
the
always
right
works
order.
better if you say it correctly.
Speech dyslexics is
Yeah.
a
It's not so good in the news industry. Yeah.
kind of like pig Latin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, everybody has to try and guess what you're saying. What? I've never heard a legislative member like that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, for people who would like to watch that, what are some of the high points that you guys touched in that interview?
We just talked about what was going on with the state government, a little bit about water.
Okay.
Actually, a little bit and a little bit more about water, about the legislative session that just passed, the budget, and just sort of touched on a lot of different topics.
Right.
And it was an interesting interview. He's always a really good guy to come on because he tells you as it is.
Is he very personable?
He's very personable, and he's very concerned with the constituents.
Yeah.
So
Now
it's a good thing.
Now, Sarah, which of these, when you're doing these shows, which one of the ones you've interviewed have made you the most nervous? Because she's had some pretty big time people on
the
there.
one that made me the most nervous, now I'm being interviewed,
Yes.
was actually the first time I interviewed Congressman Lundgren.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that was my most nerve-wracking. The rest of them I'm okay with.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my most nervous.
right.
But anyhow, and what about you?
I never get to interview anybody rich and powerful or famous or anything, so this is my brush with greatness. This is
sure,
my,
sure, yeah. Anyway, back to other things that happened on the weekend. There was
Yes.
a Taste of Calaveras.
Taste of Calaveras,
And Jenny Baxter.
which is probably still going or just finishing up
maybe
as
just
we speak.
finishing, exactly.
Yeah. And we're gonna have
Jenny Baxter.
Jenny
is
Baxter's
actually
gonna tell
going
us
to be
about
covering
that probably
soon.
tomorrow or so,
yeah,
or
soon,
next couple
this
days.
week sometime. So
on
stay
sports.
tuned for that.
We'll put on our sports hat. Local sports. The Frogs dropped a close one to Argonaut, 20-21.
Very
so,
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going to go into homecoming week, kind of.
Sort of a little.
Yeah. All right.
But there's a
But
parade
Calaveras.
for homecoming.
Yes,
on the
Calaveras was victorious over the Bears
Yes.
in Somerville,
20 to
14. So
So they
the
played
big game
well.
this year should be a lot of fun.
It should be
because
actually. The teams are.
Evenly matched. They can both score points. They can.
That's
it
always
should
a
be,
good thing. Scoring points.
Scoring points
Yes,
is a good
always
thing.
a good
Yes,
thing in a game.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also this last weekend, Chamber of Commerce event out there
Yes.
at Frogtown, which apparently was quite good as well.
They danced. They
danced. They
big
had a
band
good time.
sounds. So big bands, it technically wouldn't be poodle skirts or anything like that. It's more 50s. It would be more.
Yeah, big bands is a little before poodle skirts.
Yeah,
I
it would be
think.
more,
Yeah.
a little more
But
formal.
you can email us if we're wrong.
Yes, you
and
can be a
tell
little
us.
more formal with
That's
your
right.
big band skills.
I know more about ancient history than I do about 1950s and 1940s. So don't ask me. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So And actually, some state news, the governor was busy actually signing legislation this past weekend, and he signed into law the legislation that will require any guns sold or fired in California to mark their bullets. Stamp the bullets.
Don't they already?
No, they don't. This was a big one. This was a big one that was argued continually. And, yeah.
I mean, if you watch any episode of CSI,
that's right.
they always try
Well,
to...
that's because of the way the bullet spins on the way out. Tells you what kind of gun it came from.
So they actually want them to actually label
them. But individual
them.
guns, they want to stamp the bullets.
Well, to just drive up the cost of guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So anyway, the governor signed it.
And these are all for ones that are going to be newly sold?
Newly sold is my understanding.
So it's not like there's any out there in circulation at all anyway, right?
So anyway, he signed that amongst a plethora of other legislation.
You know, it's like, it's not like there's anything...
Yes, and apparently his love affair with the Democrats is over health care now.
But it's not that you would be able to procure a firearm.
Yeah, he's still talking about it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We all know that. We all know
that.
So.
I'll be quiet.
Yeah.
So his love affair with the Democrats is over?
Is over
what
the
happened?
health care issue. Apparently it just all fell apart. You know, well, which happens. It does. You know, they don't get the little nigglies.
I bet it was over money.
Probably, wasn't it?
Do you think it was over money?
Possibly, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Yeah.
People...
all that money stuff.
Well, speaking of healthcare, do you think on the national scene, do you think they're going to override the presidential veto of the STIP program?
I think it would be really difficult to override a presidential veto.
What we last heard on this one was that they're probably not going to quite get enough votes to override.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. It's hard to get an override of a veto.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See,
those of us who watched Schoolhouse Rock when we were young know that.
Know that?
Yeah. It's hard to...
Override a veto?
Override a veto, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And what was your wife saying about that?
Never mind. No, she was... See, our children did not have school today.
Yes.
Yeah. With so we actually did a little bit of a family, coming back in from a family thing, and I overrode the veto on shaving.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I know.
You're living life on the edge now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a little bit on the national stuff. You may have heard this. It looks like a couple of the defendants in the O.J. Simpson thing have rolled.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
It ain't looking good for Juice. He will probably...
In other words, they've cut deals.
They've rolled.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's not looking too good for O.J. Simpson. And it's not looking good for Brittany to get her children back.
What happened with Brittany?
Well, she missed her appointed child visitation.
Ooh.
And apparently things just went worse this last weekend. But on the upside, Lindsay Lohan apparently is doing quite well.
Yeah, I saw her. She was playing the piano. And
yeah, she's an attractive girl.
And
so
I know for those of you who are following this, looks like China cancels Iran meeting over the Dalai Lama.
Anything more about that?
No. And also, and this is kind of a local tie-in because you may have watched.
See, what you may see is that he has his computer, but I don't have mine.
Yeah,
so we're
there's
relying on
national
him
headlines
a little bit.
there.
National,
you know,
yeah.
I guess a little bit of a national tie-in to local stuff is as most of you know, last week the SEIU was out showing force. You know, they're currently negotiating with CCWD.
With the retirees' benefits,
and also current employees. But Obama got the Illinois SEIU endorsement.
Yes.
Over Hillary.
I have heard that people think that it is actually tipping for Obama to get...
Behind the scenes? Really?
That he'll get the nomination, which should be interesting to watch.
You kind of think that from the Clinton side of the thing, is they want to portray her as a fait accompli.
Well, yes.
Right? I mean, just the inevitable...
Which is how the Republicans are actually arguing in the debates. Yes, exactly. But that may not happen.
Yeah, because it's early.
Politics it's very early, and there's always an upset factor.
And there's always strange bedfellows.
That's right. And never forget that.
Yeah.
But we should probably go on to weather.
Oh, we got time. We can still continue to... Sarah's going, Please,
Weather,
let's
weather,
move to
yes.
weather. Let's
my,
move.
My audience, I apologize. Our audience, I apologize. But, yeah, see, you have to go to weather.
Weather?
Yes.
We do?
Yes, we do.
Oh.
We do.
I know, there is some of it. Oh, can we talk
About
about
Nikki Hilton's birthday party?
what about that? What happened
They
with
had
Nikki Hilton?
35 people celebrating her birthday party in Las Vegas last weekend.
35?
Yeah, 35.
That's not very many for a Hilton, is it? I mean,
I
you
don't
could
know.
rustle up 35.
You could probably. Somebody could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. But anyway, what did you want to tell our viewers about the national news?
well, one of the things is I wanted to touch a little bit on is they had this is around
From entertainment to politics to entertainment to politics.
no, this is a Nobel Prize.
Oh, yes,
Not the
they
Peace
ordered
Prize.
another one.
This is in economics.
Yes, yes.
And this is on one of those really enlightening topics. If you think about it, it's the mechanics of markets.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of information on how you get a fair price for a transaction, the amount of
Oh,
information
that
that
would
it
be
takes.
interesting, studying that.
And one of the Nobel laureates is the oldest ever,
How old is he?
90.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
90 years old.
How does that promote peace in the world?
It's an economics one. It's not peace. It's just a Nobel Prize.
It's just a Nobel Prize. It's not
Yeah.
the Peace Prize.
Well, they have more than many. They have a plethora of categories.
I thought the whole thing was supposed to, all the different elements of it were supposed to
Promote peace.
promote peace.
Well, good, fair trade is good.
Promoting peace?
I would think so, wouldn't you? I
As long
mean,
as
it's
you're on the
kind
right
of that.
side of it, yeah.
Yeah. At least one would think
He's going
if
to
they
wish
get
we went to weather.
a fair price. But the other one I think on this Nobel one, it's kind of interesting. Is do you know how he got his money?
No, how did he get his money? Pray tell.
Dynamite.
Oh, Nobel. Oh, yeah.
That's how he got his money.
Well, the whole story about how he, somebody thought he was dead.
No.
You ever hear that story? That's how he ended up coming up with the idea. So they say. Who they are, I'm not sure, but they published his obituary before he was
Nobel?
dead. Yes, and he opened it up, and it was all these horrible things about how he killed so many people with his invention. So then he chose to start the Nobel Peace Prize.
Wasn't it kind of interesting on these prizes, like the Pulitzer?
Yes.
Oops, excuse me.
Bless you.
I mean, his journalistic chops weren't exactly stellar when he was alive, were they?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it was like,
But, he had enough money to hand out the prizes.
that's true.
That's true.
Okay, I guess we
Okay.
gotta go to
Yeah,
weather
we better
now.
go to
Yeah,
weather.
We better go to weather.
Our poor audience is like, weather,
How
weather,
did this have anything to
to do with...
not only Calaveras County, but anything we would like to listen to, right?
But stay tuned, because weather is always something
Yeah.
you want to listen to. Absolutely. And John will have to... Oh my gosh, it showers all week.
Yeah, we actually have weather.
Showers.
All right,
Arnold weather.
we will scroll just ever so slightly here so Sarah can read
Yes,
our
exactly.
teleprompter, right?
That's right. Our
Our
yes,
low-tech
our low tech, yes.
low-tech
Very
teleprompter.
low tech.
Here we go.
Anyway, 20% slight chance of showers. 50. What is that? 50 degrees tomorrow
50
in
degrees.
Arnold. This is Arnold weather. Wednesday, 50% chance of showers at 53 degrees, I believe it is. And Thursday, 20% slight chance of rain with 57 degrees.
We just got showers on the forecast.
On the forecast,
all-
yes, all week.
Here we go.
Snow
Look at Bear
up in
Valley.
Bear Valley.
And they've been they actually had the first meeting for all the Devo and race team stuff
right,
this
on
weekend
Sunday.
on Sunday. So
And there was enough snow for those little guys to pack it and throw it.
so
guys and
they
gals.
can have snowball
Yes,
fights.
That's right.
Great.
That's what I heard. And there you go.
And so if they're on the ski team, these are skilled snowball throwers or
Yeah,
just
I think so. Or ice ball throwers, yes.
yes.
Depending
Okay.
on how hard they pack it.
Bear Valley, low of 33 tonight, high of 43 tomorrow. There is a 30% chance of snow tonight, a 20% chance tomorrow, a 70% chance tomorrow night
Wow.
with a low of 29, high of 45 with 60% chance on Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday night, chance of rain. Chance of rain. Looks like they're slipping into rain
Yeah, rain.
towards the end of the
Rain.
week. So it looks like we have a
Exactly.
slight warming towards the end.
Yes. Murphy's weather tomorrow, 20% slight chance of rain. 51 degrees.
We had to scroll because we couldn't see the
Wednesday,
temps.
yeah.
So
Wednesday is a 50% chance of
it's a
rain.
manual
with
teleprompter.
Is that 64? 64 degrees, so it's
Yeah.
warm actually. And Thursday, 20% chance
And
of rain.
Sarah is now a new Murphy's resident. Well, I guess you've
I
always
am,
been
sort of.
Murphy's resident,
Yes,
right?
but I'm actually in Murphy's now.
Right.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. Rain.
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 Rain in Murphy's.
Rain in Murphy's.
Angels
and
Camp.
rain in Angels Camp. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Who would have thunk?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Low of 46, high of 52. And there is a 20% tonight, a 20% tomorrow, a 50% tomorrow night with a low of 47. High of 54 on Wednesday. Thursday, high of 58, 20. So we got a little bit of rain stuff.
A little rain stuff.
And you want to hold this real quick? I'm going to look
Sure.
at Bangor, Maine. Here
We're
we
looking
go.
up Bangor, Maine for our viewer in Bangor, Maine. For those of you who have tuned in multiple times, you know we do have a viewer in Bangor, Maine. So we like to give him or her a little bit of weather. And what's amazing is it's very similar to our weather.
It is.
Except
it is.
they're having sun all week.
They are having sun, but temps
That's
are
right.
pretty similar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Highs of 54, 36, 57, 35,
Yes.
58, 38, 61, 41.
Mhm.
So it looks pretty good. Should we do copper?
Very
Let
good.
me do
Let's
copper
do
real
copper.
quick. Okay.
That's actually in our neighborhood. So
And for copper,
quickly,
Central Province
Copperopolis
applies to
weather.
Valley Springs as well.
That's right. 69 degrees.
45.
Oh yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, go ahead. Tuesday, 64 degrees. Wednesday, 65. Was that 65 degrees? Yes. And
Yes.
Thursday, 69 degrees, and there's no clouds or
No rain there.
No rain
so if you
there.
want to escape the rain,
just go
Just
down
go
the
to
hill.
Copper.
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And
And
we
that's-
thank you very much for
Mhm.
stopping by.
That's our
we
broadcast.
Do. We thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it. Hope you have a good Monday evening, and we will see you back here with all kinds of fun, exciting Board of Supervisors
Supervisor
news.
stuff,
Oh
yes.
yeah,
Tomorrow.
it'll be thrilling.
That's right.
We guarantee it'll just be
Thrilling.
just thrilling. Good night.
Good night.